I studied psychology in university for 3 years, but more than that, ever since I was young, I've always been studying people, trying to understand their behavior. Now, I came to the conclusion that there are some constants when it comes to humans, and so today I'm going to talk about 4 ideas that have helped me profoundly when it comes to understand and read people better. And there's a lot more to be said about this subject, so if you like this video, just let me know. If you live your life without second guessing what you do, here's the prediction of what's going to happen. You will spend your life avoiding pain and chasing pleasure. Now, if you want to understand people, including yourself, and why they act the way they act, you need to understand this singular concept. Because people will do whatever it takes and whatever is in their control in order to avoid pain. Pain is the ultimate monster for humans. And it's the reason why some people will start to scroll, some people will start to eat and everything when they start feeling a negative emotion. They have protective behaviors in order to shield them from feeling this discomfort, this pain. Example, this is also why people stay in jobs or relationships that they hate, just because it will bring them too much discomfort or pain if they were to find the alternative. So if you want to understand people better, you have to get to know them to the point that you can identify what is painful for them and what is not. So what is the pleasure that you're chasing and what is the pain that they're trying to avoid at all costs? Because if you have these two answers, you're going to be able to predict what they're going to do based on what they did in the past and what they're doing right now. You see, the negative emotions, when they arise in the brain of people, they will overwhelm them most of the time. Most people are not able to regulate their negative emotions, which means that when the emotion emerges in their mind, this emotion takes all the space and controls them because they don't know what to do or what to put in place in order to respond to it accordingly. They are scared of the pain that they could experience. And this is why they will go through behaviors that sometimes don't make sense in order to shield them from experiencing these emotions. Now, it makes sense. If you go back to the root cause of the problem, it's the fact that your brain has evolved in order to respond to the environment in which it was evolving in. Because in nature, if you think about it, it makes a lot of sense. You don't know when you will be comfortable, when there's a tiger that can kill you at any moment, or even the tribe that might rebel against you. You're not comfortable in your environment. And therefore, living in this very unstable and unsecure environment pushes you to avoid pain at all costs, because that could mean death. Also, chasing pleasure, because you never know when you're going to be able to experience pleasure again. Now, in modern society, this doesn't apply anymore, because you can't dodge the pain pretty much forever. And some people do. Some people numb themselves throughout their whole life. And then at the end of it, they start to understand that this wasn't the best thing to do, because they've kind of been absent for decades sometimes. If you want to understand people, you have to understand what they're trying to escape from and what they're trying to get to, which is the pain and pleasure principle. Most people, well, pretty much everyone, can ruin their lives in less than a minute. One bad decision can cost you a lot. Pretty much most of the time, actually. These decisions are the result of acting out a negative emotion that grows into your mind. Now we're moving outside of pain, but pretty much talk about all these other emotions that can lead people to act in a way that is not congruent with how they truly feel and who they are. Now, if the previous principle was to explain how pretty much everyone acts during the course of the day, this one is to explain why people can commit to things that are really disturbing, or sometimes that are not coherent with who they are. Because if you feel a negative emotion to the point that it becomes overwhelming and you have no idea how to handle it and how to respond to it, because you can't regulate yourself in the moment, you have to get the emotion out, and it's usually through action, or sometimes through verbal communication too. This is why some people might get aggressive or physical. This is why some people ruin their marriage, because they're having an affair based on sadness or resentment of the other person. And this is also the reason why, if you want to understand people, you have to know that very few are capable of self-regulating, which is the ability of regulate your emotions even when those are very intense. And it's probably the most important skills for humans, and I've talked about this on this channel before. But tips for you, if you want to be able to have a good life, you need to be able to self-regulate. Now, this capacity of regulating and analyzing, introspecting our emotions and controlling the response to the emotion that we act is what separates us from animals. It's our ability to reason even in the instant when your instinct is telling you to whatever, hit that person or whatever it is. And the thing to understand is emotions are not bad. Even negative emotions serve a certain purpose, and you have to understand those. And if you understand which emotion links to which mission, like what's the purpose of each emotion that you have, then you will understand why people are doing the things that they're doing and what they're going to do if they start feeling sad, if they start feeling angry or whatnot. Because those are just patterns, and most of the time people act them out without being able to control or handle the response to the emotion. They just act the emotion out. But I want to conclude this idea by saying that emotions are not bad things. Emotions are useful. Emotions are signals, and you have to take them for what they are, which are signals. They're not supposed to dictate your behavior. Instead, they're supposed to help you understand your situation very quickly and pick up on cues in order to be able to make quick decisions. If you listen to people and what they're trying to tell you, not specifically what they're saying, but more about what they're trying to tell you, they will pretty much tell you everything that you need to know about them or about the situation. So people lie, but they don't like to do it, which means that it stresses their system out, and they will want to tell you what's really happening, and they will want to tell you and leak whatever it is that it truly want to say, because it's really uncomfortable to lie. And if someone's lying to you, you will be able to pick on some cues telling you that this person is lying because of the overall hyperactivation of their system. And that could be through the tone that they're using, that could be through nonverbal cues, so the way if they're agitating, fidgeting, if they are playing around with stuff like jewelry or like even their hands or something like that. And this is not something that you are designed to pick up on, because those cues are pretty much unconscious. Now your brain is able to pick up on those things because it has been designed in order to read people instantly, to know if you might be in danger or not, or if you might trust this person or not. Now the thing is that most people in everyday life, they don't even listen to what the other person is trying to tell them. But if you really pay attention to people, and if you place yourself as secondary in conversations, which is something I really invite you to do, and you let the other person have the room for themselves, not only will people start to see you as more valuable because you truly listen and you're dedicated to what they're trying to tell you, but you will also understand exactly what they're trying to tell you, exactly what they want, and exactly what they will do in the future, because they will just try and tell you everything, as people really want to tell another person what they truly think, because this kind of enables them to free themselves of some sort of burden and to put it onto the other person through communication. And you can be sure, if you do that in everyday life, that people will remember you as the person who listens to them instead of the person who only hears what they're saying but doesn't really try to get to the end of their ideas. You are more than just your past, that's for sure. That being said, all the memories that you have are the only point of reference that you will ever have. In order to predict the future, the human brain has been designed to accumulate all sorts of useful cues and memories and pictures and scenarios in your mind. Every time that you're in a new environment, a new situation, your brain's going to try and go through a memory in order to pick the situations that you've been through in the past that are most alike to the situation that you're in right now. This is why you think, evolutionary speaking, you think because hopefully you can predict where to find food, avoid danger, and find a mate using these thinking processes and your memories. Those memories are very likely to influence your choices. And if you don't make conscious decisions, you'll always tend to go back to what's familiar, aka to what's encoded into your memory and your storage system in your brain, whether it's conscious or unconscious. And that's the really important part. Now, it doesn't mean that you have to get in the mind and read the mind of people. It just means that if you understand their past and what they've been through before the situation that they're currently in, you will be able to gauge what the future outcome will be based on how they reacted in the past. Because most people are just going to act out patterns all the time, the same patterns. The situation is not going to be the same, but the pattern is going to be similar to what they've been through in the past. That's especially true for relationships. This is also why you have to understand your own past and turn inward. Otherwise, you would just keep on repeating it, since it's the only thing that you're comfortable going for, that you're comfortable experiencing, because it's the only thing that is not the unknown. Because we talked about being fearful of pain, but your brain's biggest enemy is actually the fear of the unknown, the fear of what's least predictable, hence probably the most dangerous, potentially the most dangerous for your system. Because again, if in modern society, the unknown is pretty much taking on a different job or exiting a relationship, for your brain, it's extremely, extremely painful and scary, because it could mean that you die in the process of doing it. Or in ancient times, if you were to go for what was unknown, if you were to go outside of the territory that was known, you would expose yourself to pretty much anything. And so you die of anxiety if you were to do that, which is the reason why you don't do it. And you only do it if you have to do it. You only go through the unknown if you have to go through it. Otherwise, you're always going to stay in the comfort zone. And these days, people are stuck in this comfort loop. So the thing to understand is that most people will be scared of this monster, which is the unknown, and they won't live their lives because of it. But if you understand why it's affecting them that much, then you understand what the way they act and what they're going to do next. So anyway, I hope this helps. Let me know what you thought about this video, which is different from what I usually do. And in the meantime, trust the process.